Hey, good morning, everyone. It's 10 o'clock in the morning here in UAE, and I greet you from the Abu Dhabi, the Emirate of Abu Dhabi, and welcome you to this segment of 24 Hour for Change in Education, in which we will cover the Arab region. My name is Hanadi Daya, and I'm currently the Director of Arabic at the American Community School of Abu Dhabi. And this segment is particularly going to cover a region that is entrenched in history and extends over 2 continents. So welcome to this segment. I don't think I will be telling you a secret when I say that speaking about educational reform and change in the Arab world is extremely complex. And I'm gonna try to explain the complexity as it relates to 4 main factors. As I said, it's a region that is entrenched in history. So we have hundreds of years of history of trial and error in the educational sector. And I think it's safe to say we are still in this mode of trial and error in most of the regions, in most of the countries. It is also a region that is known for its political stability and instability, and also for the political turmoil. There's at any given point in history and in modern times that you'll find some sort of political instability or turmoil that's affecting the educational sector and the learning of our students. The region is also diverse in so many aspects at the social level and the social conditioning, and it's also similar in so many aspects. We've been noticing in the past decades move towards more privatizing of the education, and parents and students are seeking the private sector more than the public sector because of the lack of the resources in the public sector and the idea that you can get only a good education in the private sector. Speaking about resources, you all know that this region is vast and diverse in the sense that some countries in there have a wealth of resources, other countries have a scarcity of resources, and somehow up till now we could not figure out a way how to bring those two together and balance between distributing the resources everywhere in the region. With all of that and with this context, I think any initiative or educational project or reform project will face several challenges before it could even see if it's successful or not. And I'm going to only today also speak about 3 main challenges. The first one is that most of those initiatives import their theories and ideas from the West. The research and the theories of education done in the Arab world is very minimal or is not accessible to most of the people. So that's why most of the initiatives import their theories and work from outside, from the abroad. And in most of the cases, the initiatives are built on ineffective and outdated curricula. That's even initiatives that are done and things that have changed in the West, but they're not yet here in this part. We spoke a little bit about the resources, and yes, there's the initiatives, because there's so many initiatives happening at the same time, the resources are spread and also wasted without really reaching a place where the initiatives are pausing, looking back, following up and following through on what happened and reflecting and learning from the mistakes to move forward. So you would see a pattern of initiatives starting in the region and then ending without even knowing where did the resources go and what happened and what are the impact of these initiatives. And with that all in mind, also one of the challenges that the leaders of any initiative face are the exhaustion of the teachers. The teachers are facing what we know, what we call initiative fatigue. At this point, after so many initiatives coming and going, starting and ending without any time for reflection or studying the impact, the teachers are tired, exhausted, and they feel that they are isolated and marginalized. They don't have a voice in most of those initiatives because they come top down. And they feel they just wait for another initiative to end and wait for the next one to come. And with this in mind, today I have the pleasure and the honor to introduce and host an initiative that started in 2007 and survived all those challenges and is still surviving all those challenges. Today we're presenting and giving the space to a project that started in a Tamam project that started in the American University of Beirut. The term Tamam is derived from the Arabic translation of the phrase school-based reform, which tells exactly what this project do. I mean, the project has two pillars: research and development. The leaders in this project use the research to inform development, but also use the development and what's happening in the schools to inform research and the cycle that makes it sustainable. Today, the journey of Tamam started, as I said, in 2007, and they've been funded by different institutions. And when we speak about the funding, I guess we speak on the success of the journey because they could secure long-term funding. People more on the way, people believe more and more in Tamam and are secure and supporting this initiative because it's really the journey is giving them the time to pause, reflect, and study impact, and then inform their next steps, and then pause, stop, and reflect, and inform the next step. And this is where the sustainability is at the heart of this project. Today, I'm joined by a Tamam team, and it's very important for you to know that Tamam is now working in 9 different countries in the Arab region. So far, they have trained more than 1,000 practitioners and impacted 35,000 students. While you will be looking at an infographic that shows the 15 years in review of the journey of Tamam, I'm going to introduce the director and the lead, the woman behind the project, Dr. Rima Karami. Dr. Rima Karami is the associate professor. Is Associate Professor of Educational Administration, Policy and Leadership, and the chair of the Department of Education at the American University of Beirut. Rima is today with her some members of her team who will tell us the story of Tamam in 4 Arab countries: Sudan, Jordan, Lebanon, and Oman. To you, Rima.
Thank you, Hanadi. I'm really happy to be part of this initiative and to share with you the experience that we've been living through for the past 15 years. So I'll start with just briefly talk about Tamam and continue from where you handed out to me, Hanadi, that the first step for us in Tamam was to really identify the key issues that we thought are behind the failed attempt of school reform. And mostly we identified the fact that it is top-down, it neglects the teacher voices, it neglects the building of capacity of the participants, as well as it does not promote participation, and it lacks an educational vision that focuses on the student and on clear standards of quality. So from these issues that we chose as our focus, because we cannot solve the whole complexity, what emerged is that the best approach to work on reform in the region is under the umbrella of a movement, but a special movement that is educator-led. So an educator-led movement in the way we conceive of it in Tamam, other than it is all over the region and not just in one of the Arab countries, but also that it centers at the school and on building partnership with key stakeholders that typically contribute to educational reform. But what is really important here is are the partnerships and are the attempt to work in concerted efforts while keeping the school and the practitioners at the school at the center. And also as part of this movement, the connection and the continuous collaboration with a research lab where ideas are being tested, experimented immediately with the purpose of being used from the practitioners is very important. And this whole formula is what we think will keep this movement going. In the midst of all that, it's about, of course, change, but it's about calling this movement also call for a paradigm shift. What we really want to do is continue doing what we're doing, but with a major shift in our mindset. And again, there are a lot of aspects that we can change and talk about. However, we kind of focused on certain aspects that we thought are really critical to shift in the mindset. And these are first, the role of education. How do we see the role of education and reconnecting schools and their purpose with social development and with their community? And these are places, schools are not just places to generate workforce and also and socialize, but also places where we can really count on the graduate to be playing an active role in transforming their countries and their societies. Another thing in this movement that is really requires a mindset and that unites everybody and anchor us is a shared vision about the graduate. And this graduate, again, the lifelong learner, the balanced and moral individual, and most importantly, a responsible citizen. And this view is shared by everybody that contribute to this movement. Most importantly is the shift in mindset that we need about the professional identity of the educator, mainly that these educators, especially at the school level, need to think of themselves and be treated as leaders of change and allowed to be educational activists who are bringing innovation into their institutions. And of course, we cannot put all the burden on the teachers, tell them be leaders and you drive the movement. We want really to also think about ways to provide a healthy environment, a healthy work environment. So this is why the mindset shift is about how do we do, or how are the organizational arrangement within our schools, and how can we make them professional communities so that they are really holding environment for continuous improvement and sustained innovations in those schools. And beyond the class, beyond the school building and around it is this professional community. So again, as part of the movement and a driving force of it is this professional network that will help support all the practitioners as well as help them engage in this continuous learning that we know very much that they work from each other. Tamam, the whole movement is driven by a theory of change that talks about the importance of building the capacity of the schools, specifically school teams of practitioners, where we come with the conviction that they have their own assets, their own initiatives that we want to capitalize on. However, they do need additional capacity to be able to become those leaders of change. So, and specifically to be able to lead school-based improvement. So because of that, we have a process and a set of competencies that we identified, as well as strategies about how this learning can be done and guided while it is job embedded. After this training and building capacity, we hope that those school-based practitioners will be able to propose ideas as well as request provisions from policymakers, so that ultimately the role of the policymakers will become to provide the support needed for this continuous self-renewal at the school level. So that's our theory of change, and I will be stopping here and passing it on to members of my team. And this is just part of the team. We're a larger team, but all women. each member of the team will be telling stories from that movement. We tried our best to give snippets of the stories that are from different regions, but also about different aspects of the work that we are doing towards strengthening this movement and understanding what we need to understand. So the first presentation will be about a school moving from teacher leadership to institutional self-renewal. The second presentation, and this will be in Lebanon, the second presentation from Sudan University, how we worked with university facilitators to build capacity for change. And also the third will be about a network improvement community working on reframing the teaching of Arabic. This is in Jordan. The fourth will be from Oman. And it is actually quite unique because we're talking about a ministry partnership that really allowed school-based reform, which is kind of really, usually ministries do the top-down, and in this case, we're doing the bottom-up with the blessing and a strong partnership with the ministry. And last and not least, and the last presentation is going to be from Stephanie, who is not part of the Tamam team. However, she is part of an initiative that based their work on the Tamam model, especially during the extreme crisis that passed in Lebanon. So she'll be also sharing that story. And hopefully this will reflect the diversity that Hanadi had talked about and will give you an idea about the different activities we do in this project. Stop sharing, and Rayyan, please go ahead.
So good morning. Thank you so much for having us today. My name is Rayyan Qatirji. I'm the program designer and network coordinator in Tamam. And today I'm going to showcase the experience of a Lebanese private school, which embarked on a transformational journey that moved from building the teacher capacity into institutional capacity building and renewal. So let me start with a quick backdrop about the school. It is a private school in Lebanon. It joined the Tamam project in 2013, 2014, and completed one full complete cycle in 2017, 2018, after which the project was expanded to new teams and new improvement initiatives were launched. Now, in the first year, in 2013, the initiation phase, we constituted the team. The team was constituted of coordinators from different subject matters, in addition to the head of the preschool. And because the team are all coordinators, so the need was within the supervision domain. Now, this school and this team adopted the Tamam capacity building program and applied it rigorously. So the team passed in through every station in this journey. And throughout this journey, the team was acquiring the Tamam competencies of inquiry, collaboration, reflection, documentation, and others. Now, in the same year, the team started with the first station, which is the need identification. And as part of the learning in Tamam journey, the team conducted focus group interviews with teachers and coordinators, collected the data, analyzed the data, read the literature, and came up with the school need, which was improving the formative evaluation process of teachers and the daily interactive relationship between the teachers and supervisors. At the end of this year, the team generated an ideal scenario of how effective supervision looked like in the school. And from this ideal scenario, the team set the goals of the improvement project. Now, in 2014 and 2015, more coordinators of different subject matters, they were joining the team. And the team spent the whole year in the planning station, where they set the implementation, the improvement, and the monitoring plans. Now, in the year after, in 2015, 2016, the team started implementation and monitoring station. And the plan was revolving around building the capacity of coordinators and supervisors on instructional supervision, particularly on building their capacity as better academic references in their subject matters and better mentors and coaches. And for these purposes, the team adopted the understanding by design, cooperative learning, and clinical and developmental supervision. The year after was also implementation and documentation, and throughout the whole experience, the team was provided with the necessary support and challenge from the University Tamam steering team. Now, this is important. During the implementation, the team produced several important documents. The major milestone was the production of the instructional supervision guide. Now, this guide actually, it is an institutional building block because it shifted the original traditional managerial supervision that used to take place in the school and designed a new one that is inspired by the clinical and developmental supervision that makes the relationship between the teacher and the coordinator based on trust and aims at reaching the teacher, her or his full potential. So this supervision guide was produced by the team. It was even adopted by the administration and institutionalized inside the school. This is together with the UBD manual for the teachers of the departments to plan their units all in the same way, abiding by the UBD. Also, the team generated the cooperative learning pamphlet, and again, all these, they were formalized inside the institution. So also within the supervision handbook, the team produced the teacher and coordinators profile, evaluation forms, the classroom visit observation forms, all compiled and again formalized inside the school. In 2017-2018, that was the planning station. The team took stock of everything happened, collected all the data generated, and documented the whole experience and produced the school final report that is published on the website, and you can check. And in fact, what happened is that the results from this evaluation showed major institutional impacts. Now, I'll start talking about the improvement project itself. By itself, the nature of this improvement project was so powerful that it induced institutional capacity as many supervisors in the school, many coordinators in the school, they gained a lot of skills, supervision skills, leadership skills that allow them to act as leaders of change and to build their capacity and disseminate their capacity from themselves to more school members, to the whole institution. And actually, in the 2019, a new era actually happened as the result of the implementation of Tamam in the school, where expansion of the impact took place. And here at this year, the school principal decided to espouse the job-embedded experiential learning, that is the approach depicted in Tamam capacity building model, as the strategy for building the capacity of school teams. And this happened by putting school members in teams, and these teams, they worked on initiating more improvement initiatives that tackled new emerging school needs. So this is how we work in Tamam. We start small from the team, and we move big to reach and disseminate into the school teams until reaching the whole institution. So these are the building blocks that really showed the institutional capacity that was built in the school. And this is so congruent with what the literature says about building the school capacity. So as I said, the more teams that was formed inside the school, this created a broad-based leadership inside the school and shifted the identity of the members in the school from being limited to classroom tasks into assuming more leadership responsibilities and being change agents and improving their departments and their school as a whole. And this actually allowed for the authority to be distributed in the school. They became part in the decision-making process. They had voice, they had more autonomy, and this was cushioned by supportive structural arrangements taken by the school principal and the school administration to help these members do their leadership roles. For example, time was allocated for their school improvement roles. Their schedules were adjusted. And actually, in a certain year, in 2019, the administration also assigned a permanent position, full-time position, just to take care of the professional development and leading change inside the school and making sure that it is aligned with the Tamam framework. So in addition to what I said, also the procedures and all the documents that the team generated, they were adopted as school procedures and policies. So, and the final thing is that the professional norms, such as the inquiry, collaboration, reflection, documentation, they were all inscribed inside the school culture, making it a culture that is an enabling environment for entertaining any innovative idea, any learning opportunity for it to grow continuously. So I tried from this experience to show a real example of a school which underwent a transformational change that is so smooth, gradual, contextualized, and grounded in its context, making the school a self-renewing school, flexible in design, adaptive to change, and innovative. Thank you so much for listening, and I give the floor again to Dr. Rima.
Thank you, Rayyan. So I'll share again, and I think I shared the wrong. If you excuse me 1 second. Okay. Yes. So I'm taking the floor again to tell you about another experience in Tamam that we went through with a partner university in Sudan. So one of Tamam's strategic goal, and as part of the movement, as I mentioned, is to build these partnership with universities, specifically universities that are that have teacher training programs, and to align and their approach to do their teacher training or whatever services they are provided with the goals and general vision of the Tamam movement, and mostly specifically the idea of building capacity for leading change. So there was a really unique partnership when we were in phase 3 of Tamam that presented itself, where we had the opportunity to be working with a university that has a teacher training program and that has a long history of doing that, and that is located in Sudan, which for Tamam constituted also a new context, which is something that we also seek always, that every time we have an idea that is developed or a model or a strategy, and we try it in a certain context, we would like to expand it and try it in a different context. And the context could be within the country, but we are always especially interested to expand and try in different contexts, different country contexts. So Sudan, of course, when we went to Sudan, it was quite different than the original countries that we started with, that were Jordan, Lebanon, and Saudi Arabia. In Sudan, as you all know, throughout our partnership with them, the conditions and the circumstances in the country, whether political, economic, social, were always really harsh and difficult. However, we were really lucky to be working with the Ahfad University of Women that was established in 1966 This university is considered one of their top universities, but most importantly, had its mission to empower women and prepare them to assume leadership roles in society. So we came to a really like-minded partners who are willing to join hand in this journey of promoting the capacity for leading change. The university had also within its campus a school, and that school was established not only to serve the kids of the staff of the university, but also to become their training place, their training ground. This is the school that they established to send their interns and to really give opportunity to those interns to be prepared as future teachers. So, at once we were able to have this partnership where we had the opportunity to work on multiple dimensions, where the model will be implemented in a school, but at the same time partnering with the university. So in 2016 was the really launching year of the work with in Sudan. There was a team from the Tamam project in Beirut who became in charge of being the direct contact. Diana is one, Rayyan at some point also participated in that, and our direct relationship was actually with the teacher educators at Ahfad University, who we started working with them to give them the role themselves to become coaches for leading change. And as such, they will be, since they are the one also naturally working with the teachers at the school as their teacher educator, they will be incorporating in what they are doing with those teachers, building the leadership capacity building, and trying to convey the additional skills and the additional competencies that will make those teachers at the school level ready to really improve their schools. Of course, the hope of the Ahfad University partners and ourselves is that not only we will be able to expand the number of the coaches and have coaches in Sudan, but also to be able to have a school that will become, have all the characteristics that we try to have in a school, which we will consider a better ground and a better medium for training future teachers, because it will become self-renewing. The interesting thing about this partnership is that everybody involved came into it with the understanding that we are here in an experiment. There are no answers that, yes, we have a model that has been tried, but we have never done it in the context of Sudan. So everybody was really trying to play that role and participate from where they are located, whether it is the steering team in Beirut or the coaches in Sudan or the teachers in the school, the coaches in the university or the teachers in the school. Everybody was there to experiment. Of course, the first challenge was to find the people, you know, after this strategic understanding with the leaders of the Ahfad University, was to find the team, and we had to identify coaches who, like I said, work in the university. We also identified a school improvement team. What was special about the school improvement team is that it was really, the school is small, so we were able to get a team that represent different subject matters around the school and work with them on doing the job embedded capacity building. But the most important piece about it was that the subject that they chose, the need that they chose was to work on the English. And this was, of course, done, the choice not by the coaches, by the school team, because we always work on school-based. And this need was really congruent with what are the problem not only faced within the school, but also the aspiration within the Sudanese community among the parents who really would like their children to be bilingual and learn the English language. So we adopted the job embedded to build the capacity of the teachers, to have the coaches build the commitment of the team and work on that, and also we negotiated all along with the university who are in charge of this school to provide supportive conditions to support the teachers. And this was really always a big challenge, given really the conditions that these teachers, not very high salaries, limited time to have to offer as extra. So there was always this support that we tried to provide for them. For the capacity building for the teacher educator as coaches, we really worked on making them become the liaison with the university to contextualize the Tamam improvement strategies. So we wanted them to take over these responsibilities. So in addition of introducing them to our program, we really wanted them to become in a place where they can really make it their own and contextualize it to their own context. At the school level, what happened at the school level is that, as I said, they engaged in the process and the strategies that we usually prepare them for in Tamam, and they came up with a need that is really reflective of their priorities as well as of the context that they are in. And they went through all the stages from need identification, planning, implementation, and evaluation. The work in the Sudan school and in the Sudan context was not easy at all. It took time. It was sometimes there are stops and goes, and this is also was quite a learning for us. You know, like Rayyan mentioned, there is always this incremental work, and there is also change to happen. We need to be patient and accommodate for whatever contextual conditions and that might be pressing on us. So when there was, you know, street protest and all that, the work had to stop, and then we kept the connection, we kept the partnership so that we reinvigorated it all at all points. The fact that the improvement objectives that they, the project that they chose was in English, and because the team was representative of many subject areas, when they went into the implementation, actually almost like organically, we became almost school-wide, and this project became really the bedrock for this impactful school improvement that is touching multiple aspects of the school and not just the team that we were working on. So things were happening in parallel and in a very organic manner. Where we are now with this partnership, we are trying to launch a new cohort of teachers as part of the expansion and to train them. We are working with the coaches to report and document their experiences and compile the whole experiences in a written report. They are part of the network, and we always work on engaging them and be active members, and we'll be working with them to participate in the upcoming gathering to contribute their unique experience and exchange their learning with the rest of the community. With that said, I will be passing the talk to Rula Qatarji, who wears a lot of hats. So I'll let her tell you about the hat that got her to give this presentation, but she's also a Tamam project coordinator, and she's the one who keep us all in sync and working and focused on the goals of the project. So yalla ya Rula, the floor is yours.
Okay, so hello everyone. I will tell you the story of Jordan. As you know, we have several schools in different countries, but in Jordan we have actually many schools, private schools. They are private schools, and some of these schools are schools that were that has been with Tamam since 2007. All of them have school improvement lead teams in their schools that were trained on Tamam capacity building program. What is unique about Jordan actually is that these schools work together and they join hands to form a hub in the school, to form a hub in Jordan, which is the Tamam Jordan Hub. This hub has foundational principles and the simple governance structure that shows how these schools could collaborate together and improve their schools. This hub is self-financed by the schools. It is active and sustained and have regular networking activities that are done among the schools and with the project steering team in Tamam. And a few years ago, we had a partnership with a university in Jordan. So by having all these components, this gives a lot of what Tamam hopes in a hub. So this is what is unique about Jordan. Collaboration between schools or inter-school collaboration is a new and promising global concept. And Tamam, as a research lab, as Dr. Rima described before, supported this initiative in Jordan and used its research design to support this initiative in Jordan. So in 2019, and what is unique here is that from the scattered different joint activities that were occurring among the private schools in Jordan, the schools worked together collaboratively on one improvement project and to identify one unified need, which is the teaching of Arabic language. And by doing this, these schools are named a network improvement community. So what is this community? In the literature, a network improvement community is when several schools come together and they collaboratively work together on a unified problem of practice. They develop together an innovative design, including tools for monitoring and evaluation. And working together, they will form a network, a community with common vision, common norms, and a common culture. Yet these schools need to be supported by researchers and experts to manage the work of this network and to help them organize and operate the operation of this network. And Tamam, as action researchers, and by using the collaborative action research, noticed this concept which is occurring in Jordan. And since it is a new concept globally and it is almost absent in the Arab world, we joined hands with the educational practitioners in these schools, and we started researching this initiative occurring in Jordan. These are the schools who were involved in this network improvement community. They are 6 schools in Jordan, 6 private, well-known schools. In each school, we have different parties working in this initiative. We have actually definitely the Tamam Lead team members. We have the Arabic language leaders and our champions and backbone. We have the classroom teachers. And throughout this whole journey, the school principals and the school administration was supportive throughout this whole work on this initiative. But actually, we don't have only these parties from one school and not only 2 schools. We have all these parties from 6 schools, which is huge. All of these are supported by the Tamam steering team as action researchers and also supported by the expert coaches as designers and expert researchers. So if I want to transform this huge operation into numbers, we worked last year with more than 80 practitioners. And this year we are working with more than 60 practitioners in these schools to target 1,686 students related to the teaching of Arabic. Yet with this unique and huge operation, nothing is impossible for the sake of teaching of Arabic, which is our core cultural heritage. And because of that, resilience and hard work and sacrifice are always done by all the parties. Okay, let me briefly give you highlights on the progress of this initiative since 2019. The members since 2019 met regularly and they brainstormed, they reflected, they discussed their needs in order to discuss what is the unified need that they will work on. And they decided actually collectively that they need to follow the Tamam model as a process for initiating and leading school-based improvement. They actually identified collectively a felt need through an extensive action research cycle, and a detailed report was written and describing this action research cycle and was submitted to the expert coach. These schools developed a unified improvement goal, which is a passionate learner who is able to communicate in the right Arabic language in the different contexts, or متعلم شغوف قادر على التواصل باللغة العربية السليمة في سياقيها الحياتي والثقافي. Okay, so these schools also work together in order to, these schools work together in order to work together with the support of the researchers and the expert coaches in order to develop an innovative design, since they are working on a somehow a tough challenge in the teaching of Arabic. And this innovative design included a tool to assess the competence of the learners and to develop the profile of these learners. Ongoing concurrent building capacity was included in this innovative design, yet we were always building on the assets, or taking into consideration to build on the assets and the experiences of the different practitioners in these different schools.
Rola,
yes.
Rola, but we'll go a little fast. Bas. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So they work together on a joint plan, also to put objectives and performance indicators. They agreed with the expert coaches and the researchers on 4 implementation phases. In phase 1, they developed the Arabic continuums with the expert coach. In phase 2, which is last year, the implementation started in classes, and the coaches, the expert coaches, with teachers of grades 1, 3, and 6. This year, we are working with teachers of grades 2, 7, and 4. And the university-based facilitators, which are the Tamam action researchers, have always throughout this whole journey ongoing support on the networking initiative among the schools and the leading the change, since we are working on a change initiative inside these schools. So several meetings were done, and as a steering team, we reflected, we monitored, and modified our plans accordingly. Okay, so this year, and because of the extensive data collection and the systematic documentation that was done by the Tamam steering team as action researchers, a modified plan was ready for implementation. The steering team coaching approach was really, its core is the dialogue. We adopted the discussion sessions, the facilitation sessions, following our mentoring approach. We actually definitely, we are working job embedded with these schools. We have authentic respect for the privacy and independence of these schools, and investing in the experiences of these practitioners. So in conclusion, I want to tell you that I was really privileged that I accompanied this initiative since its beginning, and this experience has uniqueness in 2 dimensions. The first dimension related to the Arabic language and reframing the Arabic language, and this is because we will have an innovative designs with tool and innovative instructional strategies that can be ready for scalability, since it is already refined and implemented in the different schools. And the other experience, the other unique experience is the network improvement community, where we will have a roadmap and strategies and tips for schools to network and work together collaboratively. As action researchers, we are doing systematic documentation that makes this initiative and this work ready for scalability and wide dissemination. And we are hopeful that we will form a critical mass that will produce recommendations that can help in policy change and policy impact. And thank you so much. And I will leave the floor also to Diana.
Thank you. Thank you, Rola. I don't know, Rima, we're running out of time. Still have like 11 minutes. So
okay, let's try Diana really fast. To Stephanie, we can do like the 3 minutes pitch. Okay, yalla ya Diana.
Okay, thank you so much. My name is...
Yes,
I
but
shared.
it's
I shared. Can you see it?
yeah, we can see it, but it's not
Yes.
presentation mode. Okay. Yeah. Fast.
Okay, so I'll be talking about Tamam, a successful experience from the Sultanate of Oman. I'm Diana Tharyuddin first, and I'm the program designer and senior coach in the Tamam project. If we were to answer the question of what makes this experience unique, we would be actually referring to one key aspect of Tamam, and that is related to the importance of bringing on board all educational stakeholders when it comes to initiating and sustaining school-based improvement. And by all stakeholders, we specifically mean the school practitioners, university coaches and researchers, funders, which was in this case us, the Tamam project, as well as decision and policymakers at the level of ministries of education. Luckily, we all were on board the Tamam Omani experience, making it a unique and successful one for driving about school-based improvement. Let me take you on board of this journey from Oman by briefly presenting what each stakeholder brought into it. To start with, the Tamam experience was characterized by actually adopting and adapting of the Tamam capacity building model to make it grounded and contextualized in the context while preserving the fidelity and the identity of the original project. To start with the contributions of school practitioners, we had actually 11 public schools in Oman that were distributed across 4 different governorates across the Sultanate along 3 different phases. All these schools were brought into the project, varied contexts through which the coaches were always asked to adapt the model and make it appropriate for these new contexts. The following is a list of all these schools along with their improvement initiatives. I will not go over them. These actually members were active members in the Tamam network because they had to introduce Tamam across various platforms. They participated in the Tamam professional network activities, either as actual observers or actual presenters and participants. They contributed to Tamam visibility through various social media accounts that they have formed and where they publish their news, and they are currently launching network improvement communities within the schools in Oman and outside the Sultanate. They have contributed a lot for documentation and knowledge production. They have published articles in Manhajiyat Journal, and they have also published school reports on the Tamam website. Second, the other stakeholder I'm going to talk about is the Oman Ministry of Education, with which we have a unique partnership because of their ongoing support to facilitate school-based improvement through actually opening the doors and giving us access to several public schools in Oman, giving them special provisions and support to participate in all Tamam activities, holding extensive meetings with the Tamam steering team to know more about the project, get well acquainted with it, and for planning future efforts. And they continuously follow up and support the Tamam teams at their schools through the Technical Office of Research and Development and other supervisors. The ministry had held a huge evaluation study to study the impact of Tamam on the participating schools, and the results were very positive, which gave us a new phase with expansion possibilities. The current initiative is towards institutionalizing Tamam project at the level of the ministry at the Department of Educational Supervision. The contributions of the Omani coaches is next. The Omani coaches are considered our champions. They are our heroes in Oman. They are from the Sultan Qaboos University as well as from the Ministry of Education. And they played a liaison role among all these stakeholders in the Tamam Oman Hub. They have participated also in research where they adopted the Tamam model and implemented it in Omani schools with their varied contexts. They continuously provide feedback on the model, the tools, and the templates for development and improvement. They are currently working on several evaluation studies about the impact of Tamam as part of a research grant, and they have established partnerships with other researchers to conduct research on the project, and a master's thesis resulted as such. They all have always worked on building capacity for school-based improvement, where they have adopted, as I said, and adapted the model with its journey and pillars. They used the coaching approach to design experiential job embedded experiences, and they always make sure to build a safe learning environment for sustainable improvement. How do they do this? It's through an innovative approach to capacity building, which is characterized by mentoring, building a relationship of trust and respect, continuous follow-up, individualized meeting, communications, and support.
They have contributed to visibility. They have presented about Tamam in various national and international platforms, and they have wrote articles in Manhajiyat Journal. And they also contribute to sustainability because they are securing funds. They participate in the advisory committee for Tamam, and they are working on advocating for institutionalization. We have a lot of future aspirations for our Tamam Omani hub, among which is the most important one is institutionalizing Tamam at the ministry. Thank you so much. I give the floor to to Stephanie.
Stephanie, you need to unmute.
Sorry for that. Okay, can you hear me now? Okay, so I'll try to give you the gist. I'm Stephanie, and I'm part of Khadid Beirut Education Initiative, and I'll try to give you the gist of our work as part of this initiative. So the goal of Khadid Beirut is to lead change in the midst of the Lebanese crisis. As some of you might know, Lebanon has been facing an acute economic crisis since 2019. And the crisis was compounded after one of the biggest blasts, non-nuclear blast, on the 4th of August, 2020, that happened in the capital of the country, Lebanon. And this blast brought together as part of the Khadid Beirut Education Initiative, a group of scholar activists, practitioners from Lebanon and the diaspora. And what brought us together is our interest in building the capacity for school improvement of public schools in Lebanon. And it is worthy to note that we're all volunteers in this. So we started our work by thinking and articulating our core shared values. And one of our core value is empowering, having dialogue and partnering with each other as well as with practitioners. So after thinking about our core shared values, we were looking for lessons learned and other people that have done the work that we're trying to do with Lebanese public schools. And it so happened that Tamam was there with all the lessons learned, all the experiences with public schools, and all the contextually and research-based grounded designs. So moving from looking at and deciding on our core values, we started thinking about the vision. So how do we want the school to look like? And after reading through the literature, we decided to use the community school model that scholars have studied and that research shows that this model works in a crisis. And one of the different aspects of this model that is very different than how things are done usually in Lebanon is partnership with families, with the community, as well as having broad-based and distributed leadership capacity for improvement. So quickly through that, we built a governance structure, and that governance structure was very important in order to make sure that our work amidst the crisis does not only focus on relief, but also focuses on development work. So I'll skip that. So our biggest achievement, we think, is that we managed to work at the nexus of relief and development. So we managed to capture the attention of the 6 partner schools that we're working with, and we managed to try to reprioritize in their eyes development and capacity building. So we did not just try to provide breakfast, transportation costs, solar panels, we did that. But at the same time, we managed to provide leadership coaching. Principals were coached on how to build partnerships with families, with the community, how to strategically plan. We also did webinars about well-being with follow-ups. So in these 5 minutes, if you forget everything that I said, what we learned from this experience is that, yes, it is very hard to be working in crisis. And yes, we need to provide relief, but at the same time, it is possible to be doing development work. Thank you.
Good. Thank you so much. I think what a powerful way to end this segment. It's like I said, it's a region that's over continents and 22 countries, and we try to showcase some of the educational change that's happening. Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you, Tamam, and thank you, Gabriel, for the opportunity.
Thank you.
Thank you, Hanadi, Rima, everybody. It was outstanding. We are going to publish not only the video but all the links. I'll communicate with Hanadi later to get the links to all of your various initiatives. It's been magnificent. I'm going to stop the recording now, not the streaming. So let me stop the recording so that then we can. And I'd like to introduce. If our friends from Tanzania can open their cameras and microphones, and we can say hi to each other and pass along the stream. So welcome.
Enjoy.
Good luck.
Bye. Good luck. Bye.
We'll be watching.
Thank you.
Good luck. Bye.
Bye.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so let me